Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at Minecraft for the PS5.
Imagine if I actually sounded like that. That would be amusing for about 15 seconds and then it would get old. Anyway, yeah, it's Viewpoint. Yeah, wasn't there some movie about the JFK assassination called Viewpoint or something? This was based on that, probably. I guess they got a little confused about the details. So, it's isometric. That's kinda neat, eh? Didn't often see that in shoot-em-ups. They were either vertical or horizontal, and this one's both at the same time. Isometric exercise. Care to join me? So yeah, I guess the big thing to be remembered about this game in the grand sweep of history is it's way too flippin' hard. I mean, what, that was 30 seconds in? You see how fast that guy was spraying the bullets at us? And just generally getting in the motion of dodging stuff is a bit tricky, because again, it's not vertical or horizontal, so you have to think differently. You have to retrain your shriveled up ADD-addled brain, dear viewer. You have to be prepared for an all-new dimension. Oh yeah, and since we're recording in 30, certain effects are gonna show up kinda weird. Like you just saw. Consider that something of a nostalgic throwback to early 2000s YouTube when 30 FPS was all that they offered. And so gameplay would often show up a little bit funny. You'd be watching footage of fucking Sonic 1 for the Genesis, and you'd get that blue shield that's 60 FPS normally, and it would show up all funny on YouTube, and it would just look like Sonic was invisible. You'd be all,
where did Sonic go? Mom, Sonic's gone.
Anyway, yeah. So, visually, I kind of prefer the Neo Geo version of Viewpoint over its contemporaries. The PS1 version kind of leans a little too heavily into the pre-rendered look. It just looks all dirty and nasty and gross and other adjectives. But this one relies solely on 2D hand-drawn sprites, and as such it has a much nicer aesthetic.
You need to stop calling me.
Anyway, so here's a quick history of gaming lesson for all you folks at home. This game was developed by Sammy, of all people, which is quite the anomaly, let's say, because at that time they weren't much of a video game company, you see. Sammy's main thing was that they developed pachinko machines, and as time went on, Sammy wanted to get further into the gaming business, as it were. And so in the 2000s, they bought the rights to Sega, and they still own them to this day. So they wanted to be a force in gaming, but that takes time, money, and talent. Fuck, we gotta start over. Hang on. Doo 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 doo. So anyway, yeah, being a big force in gaming, that takes creativity and all those other hard-to-obtain things, so it was easier for Sammy to just buy an existing company. And so they brought out Sega, and they started restructuring everything based on how they thought things should be run. And the quality of Sega's games suffered for a decade, basically. Bad management strikes again. Okay, we're gonna beat him this time, viewer. There's a trick, you see. See, that's all you gotta do. You just gotta try and time the flame power-up so that it's going back when the guy is going back, and it'll hit him a few more times. Smack him around, as it were. Just pretend like the boss is me and that power-up was my mom with a wooden spoon or something. Just bah, 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 bah. So anyway, this level's rather aquatic in nature. One could say it's got a very fishy theme about it. Very fishy indeed. Unbeknownst to most players, but the final boss of this level is just Kim Cattrall sitting with her legs open. Don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at fishy odor jokes. We're better than that. What the hell's this guy's problem? He's making jokes and then telling us not to laugh at those very same jokes. What the hell kind of schizo shit is this? Anyway, yes, this is a very challenging game. The fact that we've even made it this far is a gosh danged miracle. Shit waffles. So, those columns, they stick up out of the ground. Oh, this is cool. They got a robotic voice that says the letters as you type them in. That was cool and innovative at the time. Yeah, those columns that come up out of the ground, those kill you, you see. Carl that kills people. Carl from The Simpsons that kills people. Speaking of the Simpsons there, I was watching that one episode where a motivational speaker comes to town, and he tells everybody that they need to be more like Bart Simpson, and so the whole town, they start chanting, "Be like boy, be like boy." I was just thinking, what if there was like a Trump rally where everybody in the crowd started chanting that without any prompting or prior coordination? Just everybody just yelled out, "Be like boy, be like boy." What do you think Trump would say? He'd say, you need to get new references. That episode came out 30 years ago. Oh, Deborah. I can't do a Trump impression, so I just thought I'd slowly transition into something else. Anyway, so yeah, those spiky mines, let's say, those do damage, and then the after explosion also does damage. There's very little real estate where your brave spaceship can go, you see. Look at this crap, there's just shit coming at you from everywhere. You gotta be like a fucking fighter pilot to do this. Speaking of fighter pilots, I saw an interview with Jim Carrey once about why he was in the Sonic movie, and he was saying that video games train kids to be little fighter pilots, basically, just with how fast you gotta go and all the stuff they throw at you. And speaking of Jim Carrey, he did that movie once where he was Andy Kaufman, and he was like doing the method acting thing where he pretended to be Andy Kaufman outside of the movie and everything. And so Norm Macdonald, he had the idea for a hilarious joke that he could set up, because he knew that Dave Chappelle was a big fan of Jim Carrey. So he was saying, "Hey, you want to meet Jim Carrey? He's in town. He's like your favorite guy. You can finally meet him." And Dave Chappelle, he was thrilled about this. "Yeah, I get to meet Jim Carrey." And then he gets to meet Jim Carrey, and he's just in character as a different guy the whole time. He's dressed differently and talking differently, and like he doesn't even want to be called Jim Carrey. And no, call him Andy. It's the worst possible time to set up such a thing. Well, I guess that's pretty much it for Fightstick Fun. There were other games on this compilation, but I mean, it would just kind of be a rehash of what we already seen. I mean, we already did Metal Slug. We could have done Metal Slug 2. We could have done that Mega Man fighting game, but I already did that 2 years ago separately on the channel. We could have done more shmups. We could have done more SNK fighting games. This is really a good cutoff where before things start to get repetitive and uninteresting. I gotta quit while I'm ahead, as they say. Gosh, I hope I remembered to turn the mic on.
We could do this. It's the Romnan Show. It's the Romnan Show.
Oh, cool. Oh, you broke it. Excellent.